Howdy, everybody. We're back with some NECC R6. I'm Treasure. I'm here with the beautiful Power of the Storm. We've got Hood College Blazers up against Fanshawe Fuel Academy tonight as we come to the conclusion of this season, regular season ending up at this point. We've actually got a pretty impactful match here coming up between these two as well, right, Power?
Certainly, this game decides who barely is able to sneak in. Right now, currently, Fanshawe is in the lead as they have a record of 2-6. However, Hood Blazers, they are not far behind, 1-7. Whoever wins this today could be the one that ends up going all the way. So these teams they're looking to give it their all and potentially snag that spot from one another.
Yeah, so with these two being right next to each other, this match actually will be impactful through every single map. Whoever wins this one gets to secure the spot. So we got a really good little, not grudge match, but a really impactful one here in Week 9 as we're in the bottom of regulation season. We go directly to playoffs the next time that we'll be seeing these teams. So let's get a look at who all we're going to be seeing out there on the field today.
First up, we do have Fanshawe Fuel Academy, and as you can see here, we have quite a variety of different majors coming out from these players, and also quite a variety of different names. Of course, we do have, some easy ones. Obviously, Angel is going to be coming in here as a game design. We do love to see it, as well as, I believe it's just pronounced Mai, and that is going to be electrical techniques, and a few other ones that are interesting. GRM, I'm not sure, are you aware of what GRM is as a major? I'm not aware.
I am not, but I'm sure a Google search could illuminate a little bit more on that. But they got a nice little mix there. We've got both teams are a little younger relative to a lot of the other NECC R6 rosters that we do have, with Fanshawe Fuel, of course, being an academy roster over there. They got another team that will probably be seeing a lot of these students graduating up to, especially when we move on to next season once all of playoffs has concluded and we get through the summer and we come back and get to see some more of these players. And with them all being so young, it's nice that we'll get to just keep taking a look at these guys. Over on Hood on the other side, we got some a little more overall conventional names that they brought for us, but Shirito, Kujo, Bentley, Salty Squid, and Inoti. So again, a pretty young roster across the board.
We do have one senior business major coming in here, that being Kujo. And we mentioned, in the previous roster, a lot of not a lot of undersized, but a very variety of different types of majors. Whereas it's business across the board and two undeclared. I have a slight feeling that they might also go for business, call it a hunch. But
yeah,
it is certainly
a trend.
Yeah, it's certainly looking like that these players, at least few of them, they kind of know what they want to do and they are looking to get into it. But the question is, are they going to be able to face up against Fanshawe and be very successful? It's going to be a match that is certainly not in their favor. They are at 1-7 compared to 2-6, so they are down one right now. But of course, all going to be how well they do on those maps.
Yeah, and I think at this point they've had a lot of time over the season to grow and practice together and get a little bit more coherent. So hopefully this will be their opportunity to really show that off and make that stab at playoffs. We've got our maps banned all the way through, so we can take a look at those. All right, you're saying you were a fan of this too, right? And pre-show.
I was, yes. I'm a big fan of this kind of rotation. I'll mention it now, of kind of a map that can be a little bit all over the place, a little bit of a goofy map, and that being, maps like I would say Border, Theme Park, Skyscraper. You can see a lot of different kind of wacky scenarios happening right there. And then a more stable map, and this time that is Oregon, going to be coming out here, a scrim map that everyone's played on, and rounding things out if we do need to go all the way, a map that a lot of players know very well. They've played a lot, but you can still see a lot of interesting strategies, and that's going to be on Chalet. So I feel like that in terms of my preferred map rotation, I like this. We have a good mix of familiar, but also a good mix of unknown quantities that can be very enjoyable to not only cast but also watch.
Yeah, that's the big thing with Border, and that's where we're going right off the bat to be starting with. And this is one of those that's a little more out of pocket right now, being one of the relative newcomers. Not too new anymore, as we've been having it in comp for a little while now. It really allows for a lot more run and gun strategies, really rewards your gunners who really are able to showcase some mechanical skill, whereas some of the slower play might be not disincentivized, but less required for the way that you're going to approach this objective.
And speaking of slow play, we're not going to see any of that from Ose. She is the first operator to be banned. Operator that can be very powerful. You can get set up on long sight lines, and then also potentially stalling out people from being able to swing on you. And having her get removed off the bat is very important. But also, Dokubi getting removed is going to make the lives of those roamers to be a lot easier, a lot more enjoyable, as they no longer have to worry about those phone calls and also dealing with those cameras that they try to go for a flank.
This one is huge. Solus is so impactful on border. There's a lot of soft floors, and this can work for both sides, but the defense having even more intel through some soft walls both to the exterior and up to the top floor. She is so strong at getting a post-plant situation diffused by just shooting out someone's feet, even if it comes to it. So that's a great character to be removing, and one of those X factors that can really enable a strong player on either side. Notably, we're seeing right there at the top left our number one operator that we've got here, and a very notable unbanned one, Thatcher. At the bottom right corner, quite the opposite. Our other standout bannable defensive operator is Valkyrie. So I think that's going to be doing a lot for Genesis and Fanshawe.
Similarly, on the defensive side, I would say 3 of those operators are operators that you see get banned out quite a lot. And one of them not so much on this map in particular, but just in general. And you mentioned one of them, that being the Valkyrie, but also Kaid does get banned out a lot, especially on this map. Just how versatile they can be when it comes to taking care of these hard reinforced walls. In particular, that wall over there in Armory, the main hard wall on the outside, is just so useful for the attackers to get open. The other one, of course, is going to be Azami. Having her off the board is invaluable for the attackers, as she just allows you to do so much setup, so many various different Kiba berries you can just place everywhere and make the lives of the attackers so much more difficult, having to play off of angles that have never existed before, and all of a sudden they gotta make the adjustments on the fly. So having all of these operators not only be unbanned, but also being played in one composition, it's definitely going to be on the attackers to really come up with interesting strategies to get rid of all of this utility.
That's a lot of strength right there, and I think we'll be pretty anticipating seeing UG playing, or at least enabling someone to play out in Armory pretty heavily. Luckily for Hood, they have brought some options that actually deal with that pretty well. Not a ton of throwables, but the fire arrows and even the smoke arrows from Capitao, which is a little less common of a pick, especially for a round one, and even on border, could really help them to flush a character off of half wall. C4 is going down, a lot of them brought by Hood so far. As they get their drones going, they are checking out through security where there are defenders waiting, and the zombie walls are actually defending Armory from the opposite side here. Yeah, bit of that intel taken out here, but it has done its job, and UG is already pretty well cornered. Yeah, and Rotero is going to do a lot of damage there, taking away the shield, but UG finds the shot regardless, takes down Bentley while getting down. I don't think anyone's going to have the opportunity to save him. Yeah, there we go. Shirado picks that refrag right on up. That's exactly what Hood wants.
Still, getting that Thatcher out of the way so early on is huge, because the fact that it means that now they cannot easily get that hard wall open. They're going to have to use either a Flores drone or just have someone go from below maybe and try to get rid of it that way, but there's no hard floor either. So the opportunity to get rid of that Kaid Claw is almost none unless they actually push in, and by that point, you're already in the site. You might as well just go all the way, not even bother to shoot the Claw. So that wall most likely will be staying closed, and now the attackers, they got to find some other way of getting into the site, or at the very least start pressuring out the defenders to make some mistakes, because if they don't, well, this could very easily snowball in terms of Fanshawe Academy's favor.
So here's the problem with Hood right now, is that they don't have a lot of explosives to throw at, like these castle barricades, for example. There's no sledge available either. Oh no, May, on that Twitch reaction, was not expecting Genesis coming right on up, and you're already at another player disadvantage. Hopefully May's not giving away his location. Absolutely has not. Takes the body off his Shirado, while Inodi is going to pick up a frag on the other side as well, keeping things pretty even apart from that team kill. The Rotero should be trying to remove the Kaid charge that we were noting earlier, but it's not going to be important for that use. Valkyrie campsite is going to make it a lot easier to get this plant down.
Right, they do have intel on that camera right now, but because of that team kill earlier, the situation for Fanshawe is very desperate. They're down so low. The shots through the wall tag them a lot, and the intel is given away, and Salty Squid is able to finish them off. Now Angel through the wall as well. She's going to go down in the end to a Naughty, and that is all she wrote. So unfortunately, they just did not have the manpower to stay alive, and even though they're in such a good position with that kill early on, it ultimately just snowballed from there, and they end up losing that round quite devastatingly in a 3-0 fashion.
Yeah, not quite what they're looking for, but that is not a bad showing of a round. Both teams had a lot of counterplay there. I really like the fact that from both teams we're seeing consistent refrags. Those kills, except for the team kill, and that'll be the last time I mention that because it feels bad, and we know that that's a mistake that everyone's going to make a couple times in their Siege career. But the refrags were coming out so consistently. We were seeing kills in a pair just about every single time one happened. So that's some great diligence being done and some good communication is being evidenced by that.
We are going to see them choose to go back to that site once again, instead attempting to just play more efficiently, maybe adjust their actual strategy. They're still bringing the same operator, so that isn't going to change, but as we may have seen, if they just had played a little bit more concisely and hadn't made as many mistakes, that round could have very easily gone into their favor. So they're going to be looking to clean up that play and potentially go in again, as we do see right now almost the exact same setup coming through when it comes to what they're actually bringing, how they're setting things up. And also now they're getting rid of that Flores, which is something that was so difficult for UG to deal with on that Azami.
Yeah.
And with them gone, that could potentially lead to that player playing a lot longer in that power position.
On the other side, though, Kujo has switched over to Buck. That's a lot of soft destruction that you bring to bear with your underbarrel skeleton key, and that's going to probably be used to open up the floor underneath Armory. We saw a little bit of a struggle taking out that Kaid clause, so this might be the answer to that, or otherwise just opening up the floor beneath them. Now we don't have to deal with explosives to take out UG, and you can kill him from below. There is a player down here below, though. Oh, and they're seeing, yeah, Kujo has not droned out the whole room, so Kinesis gets an easy kill down there, not even having to use their black eyes, and is going to check out detention because that's probably where Kujo went from his perspective. We know that he's come from there for sure. As this attack on security is going, this is a repeat of last round.
And well, unfortunately, not too much of a repeat, as UG is not able to get a trade. They do just immediately go down, but this time Maya's there to try to pull some support as they start pushing in here. The swing comes through and the timing isn't there. They start rezzing the player.
No
they pull their shoulder off to the side. They barely manage to stay alive, and now both players are in a very dangerous position. That hatch, thankfully, is right there, and they try to back out, and it looks like Maya's just barely able to, but UG does end up going down. Just too low HP, and the shots just do ring true, and now that power position is completely gone, and at least Maya makes it out with their life, but they did take quite a bit of damage to try to get that happen, and ultimately got nothing for it but a bit of a time waste.
It was a valiant effort, but in the end, the damage that you've dealt to Hood isn't really going to stick because Salty Squid is keeping those heals up. The Cleric for the team healing everyone up, so only Bentley's got a little bit of damage, and now the Thatcher EMP's going off. It's not going to be enough to stop May from taking out Shirito. Two players peeking into Armory while a third makes a side angle, but they're going to have to deal with Angel on this angle.
They are going to swing some shots, fire out. Unfortunately, none connect, but they do connect onto her, and she is forced to rotate back into this side room, just try to make sure that no one's able to get a good peek on to her. Unfortunately, they were not able to destroy the Electro Claw. They only used the Thatcher EMPs to get the wall open, so while they can enter, they will take a bit of damage for doing so, but they did not expect the sneaky snake on the floor, and that's Delora that takes that first opening kill for the attackers, or excuse me, defenders in this round. Or, well, I say opening
Beautiful Kansas
kill, but yeah, it's, at this point, it's looking pretty dangerous for Hood. It's another kill for them with the C4. Now, all down to Salty Squid. They're peeking in here, but they got so many players watching them. And while they do manage to find one, it's not too much left they can do. They have to work a miracle if they want to win this one.
Yeah, this is basically a back and forth early rounds. Using the bait, not quite ADS and fast enough. Yeah, Finka doesn't get a crazy fast ADS time, unfortunately for him, and so he's going to be able to beat this 1v1 even after using Diffuser to tactically bait out that push. So 1-1 going into round 3. A second attempt at second floor defense has proven successful for Fanshaw's defense.
It certainly was a bit messy at times. We did see that hold inside of security that was a bit all over the place, but thankfully the players on the side of Hood Blazers, or at least thankfully for Fanshawe, they weren't able to really stabilize once they did get those picks. Once they did get that map control, they didn't really push into security all that much, just kind of left that to its own devices. They couldn't really clear anything else out because of those castle barriers, and so instead they just opted to just do a main push, and they got pincered from there as they pushed back into security, the players on Fanshawe, and just put too much pressure on them, and ultimately Hood players weren't really able to get anything going except for a few bullets to the face. And well, now Fanshawe, they get to go down to Bathroom, a site that for the longest time was hardly ever played, but I've seen more and more recently has become a map that quite a large number of teams thoroughly enjoy playing as a tertiary site.
Yeah, I am a huge fan of the rework to the site. It was so minimal, but making Bathroom Tellers into not just a usable site, but one that some teams even prefer as their primary one over Armory in certain situations. It's a really fun one, and as you can see by how far our orange players ended up getting spread in that early prep phase, like no one was anywhere near site. It really allows you to play very flexibly here. You can still anchor up in site. Bathroom is a great place, but usually you want to be falling back to it later in the round, and that's exactly what we're going to be seeing from Fanshawe. Right now, though, with no players in sight, that could be taken advantage of by Hood if they're able to recognize that fact pretty quickly.
They did reinforce the bathroom hatch, which is a bit of an interesting one, especially when they're playing so heavily upstairs. You would think that they would like to keep that at least soft, and maybe even potentially opening it so they do have the ability to rotate around, especially as we do have orcs on the field. The operator that can jump through hatches, just straight up jump on through them. Extremely powerful to be on the field when it comes to rotating around the map, and I found in particular that this is a map where orcs can shine, as just the ability to just jump around through these hatches and rotate all throughout the map. There are so many of them in this map. It's actually a little bit insane, and it just makes things a little bit difficult for the attackers to really keep a good track as to exactly where you are if you use it to its full effectiveness.
We're now seeing that we're a minute into the round. First breach is just about coming in from Hood. They've lost one of their players on that entry kill, unfortunately for them. So they've lost a bit of time in getting up here. They're going for that second floor take, which means that it might be something that they have to do pretty darn hastily. If you're going from second floor, it's going to be more thorough, but you have to spend the proper amount of time on it. Kujo finds that kill on UG, and that's going to be great for evening up the numbers and giving them a better spot to work with, especially for that upstairs clear, which has become so necessary with how they're approaching. Looks like camera's hacked as well. Coming around with the DMR. Yeah, Kinesis picks up a second kill on the round, taking down Salty Squid and pretty much establishing second floor dominance now.
We did see there that Rook is on the board, an operator you don't see quite too often, but unfortunately it doesn't matter if you have a Rook if you get headshotted, and that was what we saw happen there with UG. But now, with a minute off the board, 2 players down for Hood. They're not in the greatest position overall. They've got to start rotating around, and getting one more opening as they try to push in here is useful, but they don't have too much control of sight. A lot of the players are still anchored. They do have a few players that are sort of out of the way, that are causing a little bit of trouble they do have to eventually deal with. And at least for the moment, they've just kind of slowed down, trying to get some site control, or excuse me, some top floor control, trying to push in and just make sure they can effectively take care of them. But everyone's rotated back down. Everyone's holding these power positions. If they do get in, it's going to be probably by this hatch. Thankfully, they have some can openers to make it happen, but still in a very dangerous position for them to be in.
Who unfortunately not the right orientation to actually kill this player in the corner, but it's going to be very hard pressure for Delure once the can opener does come out. Kujo finds a kill anyways with another set of explosives raining down on main. Delure's got to take this fight, not quite having the damage to take it out though. Shirado takes up this kill, and suddenly the 3v3 is turned into a 3v1. Angel, the only one left, just peripheral to sight, but this is a great place. Yes, she sees the diffuser, doesn't take her time waiting for that one, and she knows where it's going to be. She's got the wall bang opportunity. She just has to make sure that she stays alive for a little longer and spray some bullets through that wall.
And now we are going to see Shirato is going to go into the other side and start planting away from that hatch, away from where they know that final player is, and she's going to now have a very difficult scenario on her hands. Post-plant 1v2, and unfortunately they just cannot win out the fight. Ben Lee is going to get the headshot to close out the round. The Black Eyes looking so smooth in this final kill cam, and with that, another round goes in favor of the attackers. They once again take their lead, although it maybe was a bit closer than they were hoping for.
I'm liking to see how evenly matched these two teams are. There's a lot of interplay that we're seeing even already 3 rounds in. Hood coming out ahead, but we see these swing opportunities throughout the maps. Hood was having a little bit of a hard time with the time management there. I was kind of saying that I might be a little bit worried about that at the top of the round, and they were getting down to 50 seconds and kind of needed to clear a couple rooms quickly, which required just face checking. Not a situation you want to end up in. They ended up getting lucky without losing players. But they did a really good job once they got the plant going down, and they crushed the opportunity for Angel to make that clutch play, because Angel just had to play back and play safe to keep in the round, or, I mean, just absolutely slap it on the table and go, I'm just taking 3 kills in a row. It's got to be all headshots with a relatively low fire rate gun. And that wasn't like a good call. I wouldn't have done that if I was in that situation. So smart plays from both teams in the end of that round as they cleaned up.
We are seeing some adjustments coming out from Fanshawe as they do decide to once again head over to Bathroom and Tellers, where we are going to be seeing an adaptation of a Warden coming out here, which is a operator that is a bit interesting. He's more of a counter pick, basically saying, hey, if you decide to run a Ying, or if you decide to run whatever, I'm going to make sure that I am running an operator that has some utility that can be brought to the table, a C4, a good gun, and also a gadget that completely and totally counters that if you do decide that that's what you want to bring to the table. It kind of prevents those players from really wanting to make a decision. Instead, they opt to other characters or change their strategy to not revolve around a Ying rush, for example. But we didn't see a whole lot of that in the previous rounds. Adaptation, it seems more or less like Ugg just wants to kind of play an operator that has a good gun that can run around and frag, and then potentially hand off the Oryx to Kinesis and have them play that instead.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I think it's a run and gun ward, and we got a C4 instead of a shield. Shield is being brought by Angel, so she's given that utility. They might not need 2 of those emplacements. So you got an MPX and SMG-12. There's a collateral. Yeah, triple kill potential. Kinesis taking 1 and putting plenty of damage on Ben Lee. Those heals are going to be doing a little bit to mitigate how much damage Kinesis is able to just fire down that corridor. And he gets out so safely. That's a great benefit to having Oryx on the team. But the second floor is getting pinched pretty heavily between both these rims. And whoa, Noni must have had some intel on that one, coming right around the corner and taking down Ugg.
And with the fuse going down, I do want to mention that they're not running a buck this time. No more can openers are on the board. It is absolutely impossible for them to get these hatches open right now. They have no hard breach potential in the slightest. And we do see that Oryx I mentioned last round finally come to fruition as Kinesis jumps up through the security hatch and is able to get a very easy kill onto Shirito, who was completely caught unawares. And now the players on Hood Blazers, they have to rotate over and try to take out Kinesis, but they're just going where all the kills. Another triple kill now. They know where they are. They know they're in security. But apparently they don't, as we just see Salty run straight into them. A quad for Kinesis now. 1 more, and they have very easily get the ace. Ben Lee knows where they might be, but they don't know they've rotated around. They might know where they are. They're going to swing forward. They're not aiming the right way. It's an ace for Kinesis as they completely shut down the push from the final attacking
That's
player.
Beautiful. I love those pre-fires that we got to see in between those fights as well. The suppressor allowing you to kind of do that a lot more safely. And since suppressors, they have been a little bit nerfed since the rework on them, but they're still really strong and allow you to do a lot more, especially in the realms of roaming really aggressively. So Kinesis is just absolutely dominating the top floor. And this is the 3rd round in a row that he's found first pick in the round. That is crazy impact to have. Even if you're losing the rounds, that's a good testament to be having. And like 80% of rounds end up going the way of the first pick. It's a huge boon to have because it will affect the entire rest of the round. You get so much less pressure on the map if you have just 1 less player for the extra 2.5 minutes that it takes. So this is great stuff to be seeing from Kinesis, already really making a show of himself in this round. I mean, 9-2 is a ridiculous score to have in round 4.
And it pretty much means that every round that they have lost so far is a round that Kinesis has died. So far at least, if Fanshawe want to win, they just gotta make sure that Kinesis stays alive. That's what I'm saying right now. And as Fanshawe head back upstairs to Armory, where they had a first round that was a little bit in, and then a second round that was a lot better. We are seeing them make more adaptations. Once again, Kinesis choosing to stick on that Oryx, and after that previous performance, I cannot say I'm surprised. And Ugg still attempting to go for that hold with the Azami inside of security. I'm not totally convinced that this is going to work. I know they say 3rd time's the charm, but I mean, it was countered so effectively both times. First time by a Flores, and second time by just pure gun skill. I'm a little bit hesitant to see if it is going to be successful this time, and I hope that it is for their sake, but it's certainly a slippery slope.
Yeah, at this point, you are the one losing that engagement. The adaptation is in your boat to be doing. The intel is going to be going out once again. Yep, a zombie spotted out, taking the toll on drones, but that's actually a slightly different hold from Ugg, so we'll see if this really aggressive play is going to work out. Flames coming out from Capital, burning off the area, but it's not going to quite hit the mark on Ugg. There's so much utility going into him right now, though. 2 players just shooting at him, and so much So many resources that used as well between all of these Kiba barriers going out here. The drop has already been prepared, so getting down is not nearly as terrible. And Genesis is already awaiting. They've seen how this has gone before, so the adaptations have been made by the defense, even if they are still playing this very aggressive angle. The res opportunities going off our hero of last round, putting his gun away for a second, and I don't think a drone has followed all the way downstairs as two players push their way in, but security is theirs. They don't find the kills. 4 players in here at this point. They're going to be looking to get hard breach off. They need to remove the Kaid Claw.
A minute was wasted, and Og manages to barely make it out alive. Salty looks right at the frost mat and still walks into it, going down with the diffuser, and they cannot pick themselves up as they are currently stuck in a frost mat. At least Cujo is going to try to get something in return as they're able to pick up that Kaid, but Angel is in a fury. They want their kill, and they get it indeed as Salty ends up going down now. The diffuser is firmly in the hands of the defenders. That's not the great position you want to be in if you're Hood players right now. They need to push in here and get that. Not the hardest place to be in, but, well, at least they're making things a little bit easier by getting some free kills.
Oh,
no!
Indeed, not again. And Node finishing off Genesis and shutting this one down. If we're following the same trend of Genesis going down, being a losing round, then this may well be in the books. Ugg is the only player left. Shirto on a double kill for the round as well. And yeah, Bentley is going to finish this one off.
Unfortunately for the players on Fanshawe, it was just not in the cards for them to win that. When they had some good adaptations, I would say, bring some operators they felt comfortable on, and they were able to make that hold inside of security work a little bit better, at the very least stalling out and not losing a player. But once they kind of rotated back, they weren't in a really good position to stop that push from going in further, as the Thatcher just quickly got the wall open with the ace, and then the frags started coming out in favor of Hood Blazers. And after that, it was not much that the remaining players on Fuel could do, as they ended up completely getting stomped out. And now we are once again seeing Fanshawe decide to go back over to Armory and Archives, where I would like to point out, every round they have gone a site, lost it, gone back to it again, and then won it again. So logic would win this one.
Yeah, we are going 50-50. This is the 4th round on Armory at this point, and they are nursing that, well, technically losing a record on it so far, 2-1 as far as losses to wins. So they're looking to run this one back once again. There's been a lot of interplay just on this site. I think if these teams just keep going back and forth so heavily, this isn't a very like defender or attack side of map either way. Maybe a little towards attackers at this point, but pretty much no bearing on what's going to happen. So if we flip and we end up seeing the same kind of counterplay, I think we're going to be seeing a lot of Armory throughout this map.
Not too surprising, this is the favorited site on this map. As you mentioned, there are some teams that do prefer to head down to Bathroom as their primary site, but it is still predominantly going to be the teams, a majority of the time, preferring to head over to Armory. And for good reason, it's a very solid site to hold on to. But one thing I was looking forward to, and I was going to mention this, and we are seeing the adaptation now, is Hood Blazers deciding to attack on the opposite side of the site, heading over not to Armory, but instead to Tellers. And that's right now where we are seeing players like Anadi setting up right now, trying to watch in here, getting on those windows, and about to make things very, very difficult. We do have a Capital on the board that could throw those smokes down to make things even more difficult for the players on Fanshawe to stop them. It could potentially be huge if they're able to get things going here, but they got to get that door open at least, or get someone in there to get the diffuser down.
Genesis gets the first kill on this round, keeping up that trend of first picks, and that is huge for his team right now. The defense is actually totally changed their strategy. UG is not pushed out into security, so for the one round for Hood to be changing up their strategy, it's the one where Fanshawe has everyone gripped where they're going this time. And Odai gets the second kill. It's actually a refrag once again, like we've been saying. Really clean refrags from the team, from both teams overall. There's quite a lot of pressure on Office, especially with wall being opened up, but it's going to come down to Cujo, I think, for making a play, pushing into security, and given that opportunity and a little bit of distraction. We see a couple players in hallway, and these are going to be pushing up pretty quickly, looking for a flank opportunity, maybe through that window.
We are going to see players like Shirto enter into the site proper, and they do not have the diffuser in pocket. Unfortunately, it is in the hands of Salty Squid. They need to start going for picks, and we're going to see a Naughty getting one, Shirto following up with a quick second one, but they're playing around from the side. The shots go through, and they find two, but the diffuser is still going down. Salty is going to get it, and it is going to be the Flores drone that actually gets the kill into Ugg, leaving things all down to Mai. Right now, the diffuser is down a 1v2 situation. Not the greatest one to be in, but one that is certainly doable, especially as Mai is on full HP. They are going to go ahead and rotate around to Metal, try and see if they can pick anyone off, but the players on Hood, they have separated. One's going to be outside, the other one's going to be deep in sight. They might not know where they are. Seems like they do have some intel. There might be one back there, and they're just checking every corner, but they don't have time. They need to start getting a move on. They need to move on fast.
Yeah, this is basically no intel. It's going to have to be on a crazy peak, and they are making noise, especially as they run out of time. They got to move faster. A triple kill for May has just been doing great on this round, but the diffuser still hidden through here. Now finally located, but there's no way you can get out there and clear out Salty Squid. Yeah, not even worth going for the defuse. You're just guaranteed to get shot out from right there. Nice defuse and nice hold from Salty, and a crazy attempt at bringing that one back from May, but it's just not going to be in the cards as Hood gets to come out favored in their attacking half.
And with that, Hood Blazers, like you mentioned, they do take that attacking half in their favor, which is not too unexpected. I do believe that this map, at least at the highest level of play, is going to be attacker-sided, but still, with how close it was and with how back and forth it was, Fanshawe were certainly hoping and certainly praying that they were going to be able to take that in their favor. But unfortunately, they weren't ready for the adaptation coming out from the players on the side of Fuel coming up from the side of Hood Blazers with their attack is pushing in from a different side of the map, even though it took them forever to get set up going, and even though May had a absolutely insane flank getting two, this wasn't enough. The rest of the players on the side of Fanshawe just didn't stack up when they needed to, and now Hood, they get to go on to the defensive half with a lead in pocket, and considering if map is heavily defender side or heavily attacker side, they're certainly going to be wanting that in their favor.
Yeah, they're going to need to have it in the books. Fanshawe just needing to match that in order to take this one to overtime. Salty Squid now on Thunderbird, someone we didn't see on the other side, but really works very nicely with his zombie. Two characters that like to bunker up in a given location to give you a lot more ability to offsite anchor. So we'll see how they use those two together. Zombie already set up a Kiva barrier in Armory, looking out onto the breach with Castle Barricades, also giving them the ability to do some more extensions. Some of the same stuff that we saw from Fanshawe's defense, actually.
Yeah, they are extending pretty heavily into security, or at least we see one of them extending into security right now. That going to be Shirto. And right now, they are really the only one. They have some set up themselves, but the adaptation coming out here, Angel, she's going to be playing on that sledge and making sure that, well, if any barriers get in their way from Castle, is go ahead and just slam those right through. And unfortunately, a lot of those barriers were going to be outside. We saw the one that was inside of Break, and we obviously see the one that's going to be all the way on the other side of security in that one window. So yeah, Shirto, not feeling pretty confident, is going to go ahead and back up. Unfortunately, gets absolutely no value. Very little time wasted overall, as the players on Fanshawe decided to take things a lot more slowly than Hood Blazers did, and so mostly just drones that ended up getting taken out instead. But at least we do see that Shirto lives with a decent bit of HP to fight another day.
Yeah, nice drone work there. I just wish we had someone playing up on it, because that would have been a very free kill. A player pushed up in an exposed position and getting droned out pretty steadily there. So you have removed the roamer, but you could have taken the kill too. You got to be a little bloodthirsty. Kenneth is going down first. That's not what Fanshawe wants to see at all. He could be res though. Yeah, I think that's outside, so it's not going to be a big stressor for them. They just have to take some time for it, as they're a little slow to clear out through security. One player fully in there now, but Hood Blazers pretty patient in their gameplay, and that's exactly what you should be doing. You're on defense and your opponents are taking their time. About half of the round's timer already down.
Looks like we did see that Kujo tried to go for a Kaid trick and just barely missed the timing on it, and now that hole is going to try to be patched up by those Kiva barriers. Just trying to make sure that, at the very least, the players on the side of Fanshawe have to kind of, they have to play a little bit. We do have two little back-to-back snakes going here, trying to see if they can see each other, but so far, neither player is really budging an inch. They really need to get a little bit more area of control. They got that main wall open, but they need to start getting something else from behind, or maybe pushing it from their direction. We do sort of see that happening right now, as Ugg is on the other side of it. Shirto, they are going to be the ones that need to open things up for their team, although they get taken out pretty quickly by Angel. And speaking of Ugg, they open things up as well, getting another kill for them. 40 seconds left. The players on Fanshawe, they're starting to open things up.
Ooh, yes, just pre-firing through that smoke. Not a ton of bullets to be sending out with the SMG-11. Shotgun's not amazing for clearing out gridlock track stingers. Ooh. They do really give out your location, but that's an amazingly placed C4, taking so much damage off the attackers. Unfortunately for the defense, though, UG is going to be finishing off Node. Oh, nearly taken out May. Any collateral is going to just finish them off, and yeah, there we go. Finishing off that kill as well. The attack putting off a great final stand there as they put down Diffuser, just pinching out the last defenders that were left. No counter push went along with that C4. Otherwise, I think the defense could have made a huge comeback.
Fanshawe once again looking to pull things back and even things out again. So far, Fanshawe, they have not taken the lead even once this game. They've tied it multiple times, but they have not been able to go that little step further and actually take the lead. Hopefully it will happen in this next streak, but they are going to need to win another 2 in a row. Very doable to do, but still, it's not something that we've seen them do thus far. It's not really something we've seen any team do thus far. At the very least, in this series, the most we've seen is 2. That was, of course, with Hood Blazers previously to close out that half. And now, speaking of Hood, they're going to go back to Armory and Tellers, where we are seeing pretty much the same lineup of adaptation of bringing the Mutilog. I don't believe we saw that previously. We definitely did not see the Warden be brought.
We are already hiding a player away mystery Muscatool for later underneath the desk. Pretty hard place to find unless you're specifically droning it out. So we're hiding, making sure the opponents don't know that there's a warden on the board at all. It's not hugely impactful character matchup-wise. Bring in the shield. So if you're not setting that up, you might be lacking for it through the early round. We'll see what Shirto ends up doing with that. But it's got great guns. Like we've seen, this character is really well used for that. Yeah, slinking on out after the end of prep phase. Now looking to take some names. Ooh, shotgun and SMG-12.
I love to see, and we do see that one of the things that Warden is very powerful on this map in particular is encountering any pushes into Tellers, because in particular, Tellers can be a very powerful side of the map for smoke nades to get a lot of value, in particular just because of the fact that it's a very tight quarter. You might want to get the diffuser planted down very quickly, and having an operator that's able to completely counter those very early on is very, very strong. And now we are going to see that main wall get opened very, very quickly as, well, the Thatcher already using their nade, and then, the trick did come through just barely, though the timing was there, but that's how it comes when you're doing the Kaid trick.
Yeah, we have some more resources for this, but if the kite trick is going to be true once again, I think this one's going to be just a baiting EMP. Yeah, as we see the electric claw go out, I think there's a repeat of last time. Should be good on timing. Yes, both thermite exothermics have gone by the wayside, and now Fanshawe has to be quick, thinking on their feet in order to find their next solution for getting in there and cracking this nut.
And right now, Kennesis is going to look to open things up by being down below in server. The potential of nades from below is there, as there is some hard floor, but there is certainly some places where players on the defense like to sit, and we do see some holes in the floor that could potentially give away their positions here. But right now, UG is already in office. Drones coming out now, a pretty open space to be droning. Unfortunately, Mute Jammer making these a little bit difficult, but Shirito playing on that Warden. They got to know they're there, and they do. The swing comes through, and unfortunately, Shirito, their crosshair is just not in the right position. It's UG that gets the opening kill for Fanshawe in this round.
Yeah, with such a tight angle and at that range, you're not really guaranteeing it. The headshot absolutely does. Genesis goes down to Cujo here in the 1v1. Salty Squid takes out another one. UG going down. It's up to one player left in office to keep holding this one up. Smoke charges are going out. Now trying to stop the assault.
A lot of pushing coming in from Fountain and Office as they are trying to make that adjustment. And they did make it pretty quickly, but those nades are there and they're making things ever so difficult. Cujo getting another kill this time around. Those heals from the Thunderbird are potentially going to be huge. And C4 going out, unfortunately, it isn't ripped. The bait is there, as I do believe that was actually a smoke canister, although Angel is able to find Salty Squid as they peek out just the wrong time. A lot of damage has been done to the players on the side of Hood, but there is 2 players left at full HP on the side of Fanshawe. As I say that, though, unfortunately, the Lord gets caught out of position by Cujo. Now it's all down to Angel, left in a 1v3. Very similar situation to what we saw just a few rounds ago. Some shots ring true, and they are able to get one, but unfortunately, it's through the wall. Ben Lee with the shotgun is able to take them out, and this time, the defenders, they're able to win another round.
Power, I love the Mossberg so much. It's such a funny gun. It is so darn satisfying. I love using the option for it. I'm a big fan of Warden with the Shoddy as well, because playing up in close angles like we were seeing earlier can be really strong, especially if you're a character that you don't need to like actively save until the end of the round. You can't really play up on a close angle in a shield with smoke, because if you're losing your smoke early, you could lose 30 seconds of just closing off an angle, which is so strong. Like, that's why this character's been so prescient in the meta for so long. But with Warden, you get carte blanche.
I do believe we had 3 Mossberg shotties being brought out last round. We had Mute, Smoke, and Warden all running it. So I hope you got your fair share during that round, although we didn't get to see it all too much. At least we got one absolutely amazing kill at the end there. And speaking of an operator we don't see too much, that's going to be Cujo playing on this Thorn, an operator that I personally am absolutely in love with. I love her design. I love what she brings to the table, but isn't necessarily the most universally useful. Although on this map in particular, where sometimes just jumping into the corner of the bomb site and just getting a plant down can be somewhat effective, I can understand why you might want to bring her.
And there's a lot of props and situations like what we were seeing when they were actually placing their gadget, which is like these little bookcases and shelving units where it's pretty hard to immediately see where it's at. And without someone like an IQ being brought, then that can easily take you by surprise.
We are seeing a lot of cheeky positionings being thrown for them, just trying to hide them in places where the attackers won't notice them until maybe it's a little bit too late, or force them to reposition in a bad spot, or else get either heavily damaged or it's completely taken out altogether. As we are seeing once again operators that are, at least so far, becoming a staple for Hood players on this defense, as we do have once again another Warden coming up for Shirito, still playing with that Mossberg shoddy, but also now an adaptation of the Valkyrie being brought out, which I think when you're defending first floor in particular is such a valuable operator to bring, because there's so many different areas on first floor that you really want to have some information on. In particular, I would say this bathroom side, because you can so easily just get players in there and get that wall open almost instantly.
Yeah, that's pretty wild to see these walls opened up so fast. Fanshot's not wasting any time on this round. A really aggressive east side take as 2 players are already in bathroom. Watching either side as well gives them way more angles to watch, although one of them's going to be kind of stuck in that angle. So other players have to make some moves and opening them up. Yeah, upstairs not being watched though, and Nodi gets a nice fruity kill on Ugg and is able to slink away because no one's up here to stop him.
There's some explosives coming out now, trying to see if they can get a few more kills, and they do indeed. 5v2 now for the players on Hood Blazers, as they have just completely shut down this push. Fighting these walls open very quickly so far has not really yielded that much fruit, as now the players on the side of Fanshot are staring down the barrel of a 5-0, a flawless round for them, as all up to Delord currently stuck inside a bathroom. Instead of a stall, they're not having the most fun shit of their life, and well, they do manage to get 1 kill. They're going to need to do a little bit more than that. Another player swings through. They do find some shots, but unfortunately, it is going to be Cujo that ends up getting that kill. Not a flawless round. They were able to save at the very end, but still not a position that you really want to be in.
This is the string of rounds that Hood is absolutely looking for. 2 in a row is allowing them to start peeling away. There's that back and forth all through the first half. Absolutely. Coming out a little bit ahead with the 4-2, and they lose their first round on defense, but 2 more in a row brings them all the way up to map point already. Going back to bathroom once again, trying to make the most of this site, which has actually given them a little bit more luck overall.
Yeah, so far at least, I don't believe we've seen bathrooms be brought out by the defense in this half. It's so far only been armory, and then we saw workshop being brought, but we will have to see if that is what they are or how accomplishing they are on this site, as well they are on match point. So far Fanshawe, they have not really been able to do much. They won that first round on their attacking half, but they need to do a little bit more than that, although we are going to be seeing a few interesting operators being brought out, or at least one in particular for the side of Hoodblaze. They're bringing in Ella, and while I personally am apologetic to the shoddy, you know, the Scorpion's pretty good as well.
Oh yeah, it just suffers a little bit at long range because it has some crazy recoil. Like just about, I don't think anyone can like properly control Ella recoil over extended range. Like you can definitely be way more likely to hit with it, but that thing's a bucking beast. But not, it bucks like a horse. Anyways, there's 2 shields that Hood has brought. They're a big fan of their deployable shields. So we've seen them in just about every round, along with shotguns quite a bit, as we were noting earlier. Not the shotgun like you noted on Ella or anyone on the roster, but still a lot of close range guns that can really tear up players, just doing a lot of initial damage. And so that kind of speaks to the engagements that they're looking to have with the hold that they have created here.
one player that I do want to see kind of come alive in these final few rounds to try to take it to overtime for Fanshawe is going to be Genesis. We did see very early on a flawless round, a lot of kills coming out to get those first few rounds on the board, but so far after that they got 2 more kills in a lot of rounds. It's not really what you want to see, them falling off very, very heavily after that, and well, they're going to need to do a little bit more for their team, I think, if they want to pull this one back. Although an opening frag coming out here for the players and make that 2 now, if you see Delore get another one, is certainly a good way to start things out. They're looking to take this round and take it very, very well. And it's only a minute in as well. 2 players down for Hood Blazers. Not the greatest position to be in.
Yeah, that is definitely big for them. They need to make sure that this round goes their way pretty heavily. Sitting here on map point, especially when playoffs is on the line, every single map is absolutely pivotal. There's a nice little sight line we have here. Oh, as Cujo is pushing up too. I don't know if they know. Yeah, oh no, they definitely do. There's someone around this corner. It's a nice little Mexican standoff, but it's not in favor of the defense, not for Cujo, as the attack is going to slowly crunch in around unless we get a little impatient. Both these players spitting out bullets, but it's only a few that are going to land. And the rest of the attack has been making progress onto objective proper.
A minute left on the time bank. Not a lot of time for the players to do all too much. They need to start getting into good positions, but I mean, there isn't really anyone left to stop them, unfortunately, as all the players are pretty much pushed back. I mean, yeah, completely pushed back into the bathroom. They can't really stop this pushing at all, as the players on Fanshawe are just going to start walking in here. At the very least, they have some healing to top themselves up, but they're going to need to do a little bit more than that. A C4 is ripped and tossed, and nothing. They hadn't pushed into the site yet. And now with that, they push in proper. Going to be clearing these corners, making sure no one is there. Shots are ringing out. They're trying to see what they can do. Nades are being thrown as well, and while we do get one and some shots into another, it's only stemmed the flow of blood for just a second. Here, 20 seconds left, and the diffuser finally going down now. They have to stop it from going down, but they don't have the angle on the player. They just run right past one of them, though they do end up finding one of the kills. The diffuser does go down now, but they brought it back to a more winnable situation. 2v3, the hip fire gets one, but the Claymore fire is back. Shots going through now, and unfortunately, Angel is able to take out Bentley. The comeback does not happen, although it was looking a little bit scary for a second there, as the players on the side of Fanshawe, they live to swing another day.
Yeah, heroic attempts there from Bentley. The defense actually seeing a nice shaft of light for a while, despite having lost both their C4s and finding nothing for it on plant prevention, which is exactly what you'd want it for. They were smart to put that out, but even on the other side, Fanshawe was careful enough to make sure that all those devices were coming out before they made too brash of a play, and they planted really safely in the corner of the cubicle as well. So those were some nice plays that allowed them to take this one out, even when the X factor started showing for the 2 defenders that were left.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being
Sometimes, you know, when you back 2 aggressive siege players in a corner, they can do some crazy stuff, and I think that's what we saw there from the farm-moving players of Hood Blazers, just going all out, trying to see if they can pull it back, and they were so close, but unfortunately, they just were not able to make it work in the end, and Fanshawe, they stay alive just for a little bit longer, and they start what has to be 3 rounds in a row to get themselves to match point, and then to overtime, so that way they can go ahead and continue playing in this map. This is only map 1. The potential for 3 maps is still there, and if it went all the way, while that would be entertaining, it would also be quite long. But of course, when it comes down to your prospects continuing in NECC, you're going to give it your all, and it's what I love to see from these players.
All right, there's a nice little location for putting a black eye. Actually, you can watch through behind the CCTVs. So gonna attempt to ace it through there. Yeah, that's gonna be doing the job, so that's actually really nice and useful. You might have to shoot out some of the TVs to get a better view as well. Yeah, we get to take a look at this. Pretty cool little piece of tech if you don't know about that one already. Fanshawe does have to make those 3 rounds in a row, like you were saying, which is pretty crazy in a map where there hasn't been a single 3-round streak so far. Taking so much damage, but not the confirmation from Shirito. Like 2 health left for him as he leaps down. Shirito ended up pretty darn good in that situation, though not really that worse for wear after taking a bit of damage from a couple of those bullets, since Ugg had to fully swap weapons. Super Shorty empty, no rounds left in the chamber, and not even effective at that range.
And of course, Thunderbird left alive can just really quickly top up Shirato if they do manage to make their way back onto the site. At least for the moment, though, they aren't going to be doing that. They're instead trying to play this power position below these east stairs, as we are going to see Fanshawe getting the opening pick, as Mai is going to be the one that ends up making that happen. And, well, now it's going to be on to the rest of the players on Hood Blazers to try and make that adjustments. They do now have firm confirmation that the players on Fanshawe are deciding to push over towards the side of the map, and already smoke grenades coming up to try to prevent them just hopping in, as we do see even more smoke grenades. First some waves, and now some smoke proper as well. I would bet the players on Hood Blazers are hoping that they had a ward right now.
Ooh, Ugg on 0 health, still peeking through the smoke and finding a kill. That's a really unfortunate one for the defense, because those smokes are going to be the last thing keeping them going against this unrelenting storm from the attack. Ugg finds another kill, still just taking on all these fights. Bullets emptying out of the mag. Just the worst moment for Shirato. A triple K for Ugg, who is just going absolutely crazy with this flank. Watch, Delord puts down the plant. It's Kujo that has to make the hero play. It's got to be an ace in order to get out of this round, or at least the defuse. You basically have to get an ace for it to happen at this point. Takes a second angle, a second kill for Kujo. Ugg is still up, though, and Ugg finds the 4K.
One thing that I do really enjoy about both these teams is that both of them do have players that are very good in the clutch, sort of. And what I mean by that is they are able to get a few kills on the clutch. They're able to get something going there, but if there's too many teams, or excuse me, too many players they have to deal with, eventually they just kind of lose steam in the tank, and eventually just kind of putter out, and with the final death coming through and their team ends up losing. But they are able to get some going, and what it tells me is that even if those clutch scenarios do happen, these players are able to win them out. They just need help from the rest of their team to be able to make sure that when they're in those clutch scenarios, they're fighting them as favorably as possible, not having to, a 1v5 clutch scenario. That's not a position that you ever want to be in as a player. Even if you get 2, it's still very impressive. It's not even half the players you need to kill if you want to win it out.
Yeah, those hero plays on Fanshawe, just crazy. We already have seen an ace from Kenesis and the 4K from Ugg. And I was going to mention last round that Kenesis has, I wouldn't want to say fallen off, but we're not seeing the same crazy kills from Kenesis that we were on defense. And it's so great to see that Ugg, who was playing really aggressively on defense and just not finding value consistently on rounds, now is absolutely showing up on attack. So when you don't have one hero on the attack, you're just swapping between these two players, which is great. And the rest of the team is doing a good job of supporting it, like you were saying. We got a pulse here on the first floor in Nodi. And I think this is an interesting adaptation. We haven't really seen it. We talked about Solus being a vertical play defender before this whole thing started when she was banned.
The OG vertical play defender coming out here, going to make things a little bit more difficult for the players on the side of Fanshawe. Just kind of push in with, or at the very least, it's going to give some intel to Hood Blazers. They know where the push is coming in from. But one thing I do want to draw your attention to that the attackers are bringing to the table instead is going to be that Brava. We are seeing Brava for the first time in this series, and I think that this is the perfect situation to bring Brava in. A last-minute adjustment, a surprise character to bring and just surprise the enemy team. The defenders, well, they do have quite a large number of gadgets that could be taken over. Obviously, we do have those Capcan trap as well as, well, those... oh, yeah, there we go. It's like I mentioned, those Capcan trap. We also have the Legion Mines. And those Legion Mines, those can be hacked as well. And also, we do have those Kona stations. Those can be hacked as well. So a lot of utility that could potentially be converted over to the attackers, or at the very least, get completely removed from the defenders pool.
This is looking great for Fanshawe so far. They're showing us that they are deserving of going to overtime right now. They are hitting this Legion Mine, just gonna hurt it a little bit. I love this clutch drone taking all of the Capcan traps. That could be terrifying getting into the late round, as Fanshawe has taken up so much ground on the map, and Inodi getting some intel, but he's gonna have to come back to point. Oh, later on, this could be a momentous C4 if they end up throwing it at this opportunity. Instead, choosing to just send that information out to teammates. May finds another kill for the attack as Kujo goes down. There's only 3 defenders left as they've lost so much ground as well. Pretty firing there. Shirato takes a kill on May, but is downed in that process. A little bit of a trade. I don't know if Inodi's going to be able to get down there, or even if Bentley maybe drops down, but it's going to be right into the gun, right in the line of sight of Kenesis. He gets a double kill on this one. His team teammate has been downed and one has died as well, but it's only one player up from the defense, a 3v1 in active guns as UG puts down that diffuser. A great impact to be having this player who has just been absolutely shining on the attacking half.
And now Arcadia is going to have to push in here and try to win this out. They do get one, and while we did see the Lord get picked back up, they rotate into the corner. Unfortunately, the kill is not found just for the time being. Some shots going out here. Smoke as well as being thrown to try to stop things now. And unfortunately, NECC is right there to stop Arcadia in their tracks. And with that, the 3 rounds in a row has been achieved for Fanshawe. They managed to just barely bring things all the way to overtime now as Hood Blazers, they're looking a little bit rough. That defensive half from them was not the greatest overall.
They were having a hard time, but I think Fanshawe was just showing up. They were doing such a great job of taking ground, and so many moments, it was just really great gunplay that took them through. Anything where their utility started to lack or they were running out of time to deploy it, then they just show up gunplay wise, and they're just showing us the full package, exactly what we want from them. And they prove that they're able to keep going through this map, taking it all the way to the overtime. At this point, we get basically a best of 3 in these rounds coming up. So this first one is going to be Fanshawe. They're going to come back to defense on our final round if we end up going back to it, if they can't get back-to-back rounds. So they're using up this first opportunity at going second floor again. This has been the bulk, and by that, like the bulk of the rounds that we've seen have been up here in Armory and Office.
Well, once again, NECC, they are heading over to their absolute babe, that being Oryx, the operator that they were able to get that 5 kills, that ace on earlier in the round. But also we are seeing, once again, we saw it once and we're seeing it again, the Rook coming out on the side of Fanshawe. I'm a bit, I don't know how I feel about Rook, because on one hand, while having more HP is never a bad thing, if you get headshotted, it's all meaningless. And I much more like what Salty Squid was bringing when it comes to the Kona Station, because you're more likely to get shot a few times and go heal up. Whereas, like, yeah, having extra health is nice, but I just feel like you get more out of bringing the Kona Station. But, you know, that being said, MP5 does have a 2x on it, so, you know, could just be going for the frag Rook. I'm always down for that.
Oh, no. Hear me out for this one, Power. It's not even about May. It's about NECC. That which is NECC should never die on this round. He's been amazing on defense, and we've got to flip back to this side. This is his opportunity to really frag out, back with the silenced T5 as well. This is where he's had the craziest impact, and he can res himself now without needing any teammate benefit. Hood has done a great job of clearing the second floor, opening up into Armory, something that they're struggling with on the first half, so this might turn around this early. First minute, yeah, especially at this point in the clock. NECC is coming around, just taking down Arcadia. Beautifully taken down one of the attackers, but there are a couple right above him, and there's a hatch that he's going to have to cross by.
5v4. Fanshawe continuing to take that first kill, and which eventually has spiraled into them winning out these rounds. And now NECC, they go ahead and rotate back up east stairs, joining their teammate in a situation where they can start potentially getting some value here. Although, once again, NECC shows that they like to play a bit of, maybe too aggressively occasionally, and they do end up going down. Shots through the wall do kill UG as well. The players on east stairs are all down, and now it's only left to the players on site. Very quickly, Hood Blazers have taken the advantage in this round, playing together, playing slowly, playing concisely, have been able to shut down the aggressive play from Fanshawe, but they still need to make their way in proper, and they're going to be doing that with this full-res drone. Open things up, getting rid of that deployable shield. A C4 comes out as well. Unfortunately, nothing has gotten there, and Cujo, well, they don't need the full-res drone to get stuff done. They get another kill as well, and now a minute left, 4v2. Things are not looking good for Fanshawe.
This round has quickly gotten away from them, and Cujo could even just send in another Rotero. The first one personally taking out the drone, and another one would just end. Yeah, this is a death sentence. You're either getting blown up by the drone or someone shooting you through the wall. Yeah, Shirito taking his 3rd kill in the round. May has everything to do. 3 more players up still, and Shirito's on a roll out in the other objectives. He's going to have to make a retake to get anything. He's got the Fuser on his location, but the MP5 is going to be quite what he needs for this situation, especially as 2 players round the corner simultaneously, penalty being the one taking the kill.
Unfortunately, they thought they heard someone coming up metal stairs, and that was just not true at all. Some bit of siege audio, if I do say so myself, as they get completely debated by that. And in the end, end up having people rush them straight from the site, and there's not too much they can do but just try to flail their gun at them and try to get some bullets, but wasn't enough. They do end up going down, and Hood Blazers, they win another round after a quite devastating 3 losses in a row, and they head back over to the defense. So far, this map has very, very heavily been in favor of the attackers, and so now that we're seeing Hood Blazers their turn to defend, I would not be too surprised if Fanshawe are able to win this one out before then switching over and having their opportunity to try and switch things around and win out another defensive half in the final round of overtime.
Yeah, that tendency is going to be the elephant in the room for Fanshawe, as they have to come to grips with the fact that they have to make this round count absolutely with this advantage, and then they're going to have to buck the odds in the final round if they're able to get there. But they still have to make it through this one as well. They're bringing, just as we've seen before, the gridlock on UG. That was absolutely crazy on flank watch. They've got Thatcher and Ace for opening up walls, but this time they're going to be attacking down below. We're seeing some of those same Thorn setups as before. They didn't all get tripped from Cujo, so he's got another opportunity to set these things up and look for that value.
Another Brava coming out from Mai this time, and while it didn't get the most amount of value in terms of taking over the gadgets and actually using them to their full effectiveness, still the opportunity to have 4 drones on the board, which is something that should never be overlooked when it comes to the power that Brava brings to the board, and also the potential to take over all these gadgets could be huge. And those Thorn gadgets, they are one-shot kill if you're close enough, and you are not going to be expecting them at all if you're a defender. So I can just imagine someone not paying attention to them because they are hidden, they're not easy to see, and just get completely shut out by the Flood Drone, hacking one of those Thorn gadgets and then getting it, well, I guess a little bit of a pokey and not being able to really last that much longer.
Mage is barely evading some of this pre-fire through the wall. They don't know he's there, but they're pre-fire playing. Now they know that there are players over there coming right behind the drone, as they should be. Kenneth is taking a little bit of damage there as he's trying to open up the main door. There are players watching down here, so he's going to take out those cameras to get a little bit more advantage. Still a lot of blue down below.
And these players playing up an armory are just currently fighting for their life here, just trying to make sure they stay alive and are able to hold down this power position. And, well, it looks like that the players on Fanshawe, they're going to say, yeah, we don't really care all too much about fighting this. We're just going to go ahead and head right on down to the bathroom and get a drone in there. The Clutch Drone sneaking its way on in, trying to find, well, it barely manages to find that Kaid, but there's not enough time for it to work. It's because it does get taken out, but thankfully the impact EMPs, they are able to give away the position, and the wall does get open at least slightly. They have line of sight, and the players on Hood Blade need to be aware of that. And unfortunately, Shirito was not, neither was Cujo, as they both end up going down fairly quickly. Now that almost instantly turned into a fave for Fanshawe.
Oh my god, another kill coming out here. Angel sings out with the L85, and Nodi up above was flirting with hopping down and taking sight, but still making use of this power position up here. Sees ahead as well, and this is going to keep a player off of his teammate, but it's not going to be enough. UG shuts him down, and Angel finds her second one in this round as well, taking it for the defense.
And now we have the situation that Fanshawe have been dreading as they head back over to defense. They have to win out defense. So far, both teams only won 2 rounds on defense, which is absolutely insane to think about. And Hood Blazers, they have all the potential they need to take this one. And Fanshawe, they are going to head down to Bather and Tellers for their final defensive round, and the final round of this half, where once again we are going to be seeing a Rook being brought out. I talked about how potentially dangerous he is, but I do agree with you that it is all purely to support Genesis, who once again playing on their comfort pick, their baby Oryx. It's certainly going to be a round for the ages here, and this is only map 1. There's still potentially 2 more maps to go through, and it's already going all the way. This could be a very exciting series if it continues to play like this.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised one thing with what we're already seeing on board, especially with the stakes at play with this match. I always find that it really brings out the best in teams for them to really have something tangible. Like, they do go to playoffs. They do get to extend their season. They get to play more with their teammates this season before they're losing some at the end of the year. This is big. This is a very impactful match. And maybe it's not the top of this division, but this is one that means something to the players that are in here, and that's what will really bring out the best that we get to see. So I'm really happy that we get to see this one on stream here, and I think this is looking like amazing play from each of these players as well. I think this is one that they're all going to be proud of when we get out of here.
Certainly. It is unfortunate both these teams are fighting for their spot. Obviously, we would love to see them continue more and more, but so they just haven't been able to perform in the other matches. At least they're performing where it really matters at the end here, but the unfortunate case scenario is that not everyone gets all the way through, but these teams are certainly doing everything in their power to make it happen. All of them putting in their best effort and putting their best foot forward. We're going to see if Genesis can do so with an opening frag. Unfortunately, they do not. A bit of damage does go the way of Salty Squid. They can quickly heal that up, however, and Genesis, they're going to have to play a little bit safer here as they know where their position is, and they don't want to play a little bit into him now, but still, he's just stalling more and more as already a minute off the board, and Genesis is still in a very powerful position.
Yep, living in their heads right now, using that Bailiff to just keep the pressure up. Ooh, underbarrel shotgun is going to give away the location. Genesis now pretty stuck in this corner, has to drop. Good thing that hatch is already open for him. No one's actually pushed up on his location very heavily. They're scared of what could happen. A lot of pressure now pushed all the way into, security, and UG wandering about upstairs looking for an opportunity. He finds it perfectly in the side of Nodi's head. That's the first frag of the last round on this map.
Things not looking good for Hood Blazers now. They've lost 2 as Genesis is able to find 1, just slinking around with that Oryx, dashing around as well. So fast to be able to get around the map. And Ben Lee taking a lot of damage is going to get healed up a little bit. They need to start making things work right now. They know there might be one of them in there, but the wall was open and the communications wasn't there. And UG's able to get 1, and Ben Lee able to just barely find the head of UG to get the refrag. But the damage has already been done. 2v4 now. Salt is going to swing here, try to make sure no one's in there. Thankfully, no one is. But now, Genesis, they've jumped back up to the hatch. They might not know exactly where they are, but they have a faint idea. They see a drone going through as well. Not going to shoot it. Don't want to give away their position. They're just going to slink around this corner here, try to see if they can get another kill. And at least for the moment, they aren't going to see them. Although, their eyes are peeking the store right now. The players, they're all kind of there, and they're all going to see. They're going to see them. So shots go through, and unfortunately, it does not find connection. And now the players on Hood Blazers, they're even more scared. They're all around them, everywhere. Treasure. They're in their walls.
I don't even think they know. That is some suppressor privilege, just one seeing his way down the down the corridor, and Bentley has gone back here. He didn't know that there's this crazy flank going off. It's a 1v4 for Salty Squid. He's taking 1 kill off of UG, but there is this demon Genesis right there through the wall, and Genesis not even sticking around for the rest of the fight. Dropping down. Salty Squid just is going to get taken down by May instead in the Devil's Den, all the way in sight. Nothing to be done at this point. Fanshaw finding their 3rd defensive round of the whole map, and they do it when it really matters in double overtime. So they get their first map win. I think we're in for a pretty tight one. We'll go to Oregon next after a little bit of a break, and we'll see what they do on a very different map.
Welcome back, everyone, to NECC Week 9. My name is Power of the Storm, joined, as always, at least for the time being, by Treasure. And, well, we have just finished Map 1 of the series of the Hood Blazers versus Fanshawe Fuel Academy, where the map 1 was a absolute banger of a map, 8-7 going in favor of Fanshawe. And well, now as we get into map 2, we're going to be heading over to Oregon, a map that, at least in my opinion, is a lot more stable than Border tends to be.
Yeah, I think we'll have a little less allowances for players just going absolutely nuclear. I mean, we saw UG take a 4K, we saw Kinesis take a full ace, and we had a couple other 3 kills throughout all of that. And those are some crazy moments, but Border is kind of built in such a way that it allows a lot of this, especially if you look at the second floor balconies, where we saw some crazy flanking plays really allow roamers to go off. Oregon, very different, like you said. There's a lot of that bread and butter siege you gotta play to, so like the standard strategies, or you've really gotta have something cool and effective up your sleeve. So big important objectives: second floor and basement. Like on most maps, the second floor is very strong because you can't be attacked from above and below, and the basement similarly because you can't get attacked from above and below simultaneously. And there's a lot of concrete in the bunker, so we'll see a lot less of the vertical play that ended up impacting many of the impactful fights throughout last map.
And of course, we are going to have Hood Blazers starting things out on defense, whereas previously they did start out on attack in the previous map, where they were able to take things 4-2, but Border tends to lead more towards the side of the attackers being favored, so it's not too surprising when they do manage to go and win that one out. But now we're heading to Oregon, a map that at least arguably is a bit more defender-sided, so it'll be interesting to see if the attacker-sidedness continues on in this series, or if it's just the product of the maps, and it is indeed going to be maybe a more even game, or potentially a defender-sided one at that.
Yeah, my guess would be that we're probably going to err towards more defensive-sided rounds. This map really allows you to do a lot more when it comes to just holding angles carefully, and we've seen a lot of smart play around that from both these teams, and sometimes from the attacks, where despite winning a lot on attack, both these teams had some moments where they locked out a player, they know exactly where they were, and they could push up on that, and they choose not to and go for the more safe play in those situations. So I think this might change up what we're seeing from these teams pretty heavily just on the map that we're ending up at. Another DKB ban, not too surprising. She's pretty strong, very well favored overall. And Jackal is just a perennial most hated character for the whole game base.
And we did see a lot of roaming coming out last game as well, so not too surprising to see Jackal getting banned out as well. Valkyrie, an operator that was not banned, in the previous map, and did get some play, but overall, not the biggest ban. They weren't bought all too often. They can be very powerful in particular, but we do see the ultimate targeting ban coming out here as Oryx getting banned by Hood Blazers. They saw how dangerous Kinesis was on the Oryx. They were like, nah, we don't want to deal with that anymore. We're going to go ahead and get that off the board, and that's very, very cheeky, if I do say so.
I would say the right play, absolutely. Not nearly as impactful here. There aren't as many actual hatches that will be impactful on this map. There's a few of them that are important, but mostly they need to be reinforced, especially in basement. There's a couple of them up here in second floor. We look at dorms and we look at attic, where we have some of those present, but they don't tend to see a lot of movement even when you do have Oryx on the board. But the T5 and the movement are crazy good, so they definitely can allow you to do a lot on this map even. Frost making another appearance again. Shirdo's been really liking him, along with Thunderbird. This allows... we see Thunderbird a lot up here as well. It makes it really easy to defend kids' dormitories and attic, because you can just keep getting healed and take more gunfights in those spots.
I do want to mention this Frost, because Frost was played very heavily in the previous map on pretty much every single site that we saw. And it's been interesting for me, as I am a very, very big fan of Frost. I absolutely love her to death. She's my girl, and I love putting her frost mats in little cheeky places because I'm not playing for money. I don't care where I put the frost mat. I just want someone to walk into it and be like, why is there a frost mat there? That just makes my day. But a lot of the time, we are seeing them place on the other side of the playable shields. We're seeing them place on the other side of windows, or something that the enemy players have to vault through or fall down. And, well, a perfect example of that is going to be the drop into pit from attic. That's where we're seeing one of them place right now. But it feels like that last map, we did see at least one time where someone got caught in a frost map. But aside from that, they really didn't get all that much value. It can be difficult to tell sometimes, especially because you're pretty much playing a 50-50 if you do play properly with those frost mats. But still, I feel like it could definitely be better. I'm not always the biggest fan of bringing frost every single round, but it might just be a comfort pick for these players.
Nice opening on attic over here on Big Tower's side. The defender's taking an opportunity. Cujo looking to see if he can, pick someone through here on the long angle. No one's sitting there right now, but they do kind of have to take heed. They're noticing that window's going to be open. Maybe something to be taken a note of for later. I don't think, the ability exists on this side to open up master bedroom wall, and some additional defensive scanning coming out from Kenneth. He's got 2 grenades from down below. Some intel must have gone out for me to be able to take down Salty Squid like that. That's pretty darn big. There are track stingers in, Big Tower, which are going to be stopping a flank coming out from that side, but the flank over here on Genesis by Shirato is quite effective. Going to stop any possibility of grenades coming out below them.
One thing I do want to bring up that we saw a lot last map, and at least so far we're seeing a decent bit of this map, is a lot of players dying from, just some spraying through walls. Just being able to stop the players in their tracks by just spraying them through the wall. And, not too much counterplay can do via that, but that is always going to be off of either good drone work or off of just good team communication about saying, hey, someone's probably there, you should spray through the wall, and then getting those killed. And we're seeing that happen once again. Players spraying through the wall, or through the floor this time, from down below, downing the Lord as they get down trying to put down some claymores. And maybe they heard it, maybe they just predicted someone might be right there, but even still, we do know that these players, they are very, very powerful when it comes to their camera work, when it comes to their call outs. That's one thing that they've been taking the utmost advantage of, and we're almost certainly going to be seeing a lot more of that as this map continues.
I'm not sure what that bulletproof cam is, but I'm assuming it must be somewhere by this hallway, because that might be what's allowing Shirdo to just be an absolute menace from behind on this side, even after rotating out from small tower, taking out Vice. There's not a lot of health and not a lot of time for the defense. Bentley takes down 2 players in a blaze with his shotgun, just peeking up around the shield, and that's exactly what he needs to win this round for the defense. The attack just not having enough time to work with, and they end up needing to have a master bedroom side push, and they never dedicated the resources to opening up master closet wall, so that was just always going to be a death room.
That 2023 SI champion skin hitting different on the Mossberg is a nice quick 1-2 to finish things out, puts Hood Blazers up in the lead once again. And that's what we saw a lot of in the previous map as well, is that Hood Blazers, they were the ones that were in the driver's seat for a majority of the game, and it wasn't until literally the very end when Fanshawe actually took the lead, and it was where it counted. And if that continues to happen, Fanshawe did take the lead. Credit does have to be given there, but you want to take the lead maybe a little bit earlier on and keep it for a bit. You can't just be relying on you to be able to win when it really matters most. I mean, certainly that is important for you to be able to do, and I'm glad they were able to pull that off, but you want to perform a bit more consistently maybe in the future and not really rely on those last-minute saves to win you those maps.
We're seeing some pretty default stuff on the basement. This is good. This is Oregon, where a lot of that is very much encouraged by the map design. We see an extension into blue. We got Jaeger ADSs to cover the shield over by Cujo, and the one thing that we're missing is Smoke, but he's replaced in this situation by Tachanka, another character that brings a shield, brings area denial, brings the ability to open up walls, and it looks like he's been using that plenty. And right now, that actually is a little bit of a intermediate tech, opening up and making the wall really weird shaped. It's going to mess with hard destruction, trying to land on the Mira and making it a little bit harder for that to be cleared by the attackers from a distance.
And here we see an operator that was banned out last map that we didn't get to see at all, and now we are seeing fairly heavily, as we did see them 2 rounds in a row. That being Osa being brought out by Ugniak, as they are going to be the ones setting up here and trying to make sure that the players can get into not only power positions, watching where they are, but also just making sure that they can, get effective angles, and even using that as a little bit of a drone, which is what we're, or not drone, excuse me, a little bit of a shield op, is what we're seeing right here. As Shirato, some shots going on here, but unfortunately that shotgun not able to make too much work, as well, it looks like Ugg does get a little bit too overzealous. They do end up going down, those shields not getting into value they needed, but well, at the very least, they were able to get rid of that mirror window, so it's better than nothing.
Yeah, that was not on Ugg. You needed more pressure from the team. We need to have this Rotero going out, taking out this shield, because it's just such a bad angle to be moving on. Now that the shield is gone, no additional push immediately, so the wall's going to get reinforced by Shirato. Kenesis sending that drone in, but is not going to find anything. As Lurd moves on up, has this opportunity to start opening up the wall directly into sight. That's where Hood, or what Fanshawe is going to be looking to plant. They've cleared out this whole area by Pillar. It is full of flames, so they can't advance up quite yet due to Tachanka, but once the flames die down, they're going to have the opportunity to start pushing up towards Laundry, where the bulk of the defenders are left at this point.
Once the flames died down, there's going to be even more flames, because Tachanka, there's one thing that they have a lot of, it's going to be those flames, although now that the entry of attack, a can opener does come through from Angel. She does get that wall open, and now a lot of flashes coming out here. They're going to try to push in, but it's going to be those Capcan traps that do take out Mai. Some smokes going in as well. Ainati is going to get one. Angel going down. Kenesis, though, is going to get a frag of their own. A C4 does get the refrag onto them, though, as the Lord barely managing to get that diffuser down. They are going to be able to get down their Claymore, but not going to do much else. And with that, it's going to be Hood Blazers. They managed to sneak another round in as Salty Squid gets the defuse, although maybe, things had gone another way. It might not have happened. We saw the execution lined up, but
yeah, it does go.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was like, there are children watching, but, thankfully Hood Blazers is able to win that one out. And now they take 2-0 on their defensive half. So far, a very good start for them, and they now head to their tertiary site.
Yeah, some good stuff, especially after a nail-biting last map, for them to come out and show that they're not out, and they're not going to let that get to their heads. Performing really well to start off with. Like you said, tertiary site. Overall, some pretty default lineups from both teams. I think the attackers are going to be pretty much anticipating the same hold, or there's a lot of the same things that they're going to need in order to push on this hold either way. This is a very vertical site in a meeting, especially if you're going for a meeting hall itself. And Kitchen has all soft floors. It's got a hatch in it as well as attic. So both these sites really require you taking pressure up top, which means that Ace has a little bit of some mitigated effects. He's not very good at taking hatches, so bringing some can openers might be a benefit that they want. A lot of soft destruction still brought Kinesis going Buck instead of Sledge seeing this objective.
10 seconds to insertion.
And then, of course, Buck does have those can openers, like you mentioned, can be very strong. But one thing I do want to point out here is going to be on the defensive side of things. That's going to be that instead of bringing a Kai, they are choosing to bring a Bandit, which makes me think, of course, of Bandit tricking. But if there was a site that I was going to say Bandit trick on, I wouldn't choose this one, especially because of how easy it is to get swung from the green hall door and just kind of get absolutely taken out. Is Cujo stuck? It looks like oh no, never mind. He was just having some fun on the desk. Yeah, not entirely sure what that impact was about, but at the very least they're going to be over on this side of the map where the entire team of Fanshawe is going to be coming from. So it looks like they're going to be completely ignoring heading over towards meeting, at least for the time being. Instead, mainly focus their efforts on taking over into dining and then kitchen proper, where, well, not a lot of the team is. Pretty much only Cujo right now and Salty Squid are going to be the ones that try to stop this push from happening.
Yeah, Salty taking a lot of damage off of Ugg, just immediately pulling up, looking for an angle. I don't think that Capcan Trap's going to get its value. It's going to be really obvious with everyone staring down this angle. Kenesis just barely avoiding having his head taken off. A huge spray of bullets come from right beside him. There's even reinforcements up top. Cujo is going to be swinging around if his teammate does go down. And yeah, Kenesis is the one finding the kill through that engagement. We got plenty of trash extinguishers to be clearing at this point. Everything is going out. Lots of utility being utilized by Fanshawe now to open up kitchen, and someone's gonna have to move on over there, especially as Salty Squid has gone down. Shirto being the first one up, and Angel just takes him down.
Bit of some overfire there. Ugnak is able to get one as well, and now down to a 1v5. And Naughty has got to do almost the impossible now and get a 1v5 ace clutch. They're worried about someone behind them, but you need to worry about the rest of the players in sight. No one's there.
Yeah,
you're spending so much time. You gotta go. Yeah, you can have people watch behind you. You just gotta push in. You gotta get your team to cover for you, although no one's on cams, but it doesn't really matter in the end. Kinesis gets the final kill, a headshot, and a flawless round as the attackers, they come back with a vengeance, and they show that they are not gonna take those first 2 rounds lying down.
Yep, that is great for them, stemming the bleeding after 2 rounds in a row, and in a spectacular fashion as well. The defense really just getting opened up. I don't think the players on the second floor were quick enough to react. Kinesis, of course, taking a 1v1 up there, but we had 2 players in Attic that didn't really move to answer the threat on Kitchen fast enough, and definitely we got to see that lack of trust on the cam players. We saw that someone was on the cam watching behind Anodi, and he wasn't trusting that. He just had to, like, if you're going to win the round, you have to go in, you have to take the first pick, and you can work from there. But the first one, the diffuser's down, you're in a 1v3. You just have to win one, like, hard gunfight, and then you can work your way in. You can't be wasting any time, though, because you still have to defuse. That's going to be an easy 7 seconds on top of the time it takes to kill everybody.
We are seeing an operator that I am not too surprised to be seeing, honestly, and that's going to be the Vigil, an operator that is very good on the roam game and not too much else. And as we have seen so far from both teams, they do love their roam, and they've removed one of the best roamers in the game, that being Oryx. So now, you know, have an operator that allows you to kind of play in a position for a bit longer, as they're not expecting you to really be in that position. And even though they do have some idea of where you are, the opportunity for vertical play is huge. Although, well, you just kind of run outside, not too much that you're going to get out of that. Unfortunately, none of the players on Fanshot push it that aggressively now, as they're going to be trying to take these fights on downstairs, and with some maybe a little bit help from Shirato, they could get a very quick opening pick, which would make things very good for their team.
And Nodi's looking to catch everyone's attention, letting that drone go through. He isn't visible to it, but they know he's in the general vicinity up ahead of the drone, pinging basically through every doorway that's going to be open. This drone is doing quite a bit to catch information up on the second floor, and it's gone undetected for a while after Nodi allowed it to go by. Shirito's on what could be a really big flank if this drone doesn't. Drone is on upstairs, and Ugg is probably going to be pushing on into lobby as well. If May over drones the Shirito, could be a huge pickup for the defense.
And we do see them pushing right now. The swing comes out, the timing isn't there. And unfortunately, they're now stuck between a rock and a hard place, and a lot of damage comes through, and they do barely manage to find the kill with barely any HP. They're going to have to back up, although they decide to swing again, but Mai is just kind of there to stop them in their tracks. And now Delord as well, killing Salty Squid. And, well, now the players on the side of Hood Blazers are in a difficult situation, as they've already lost 2 players. A minute 30 off the board, though, so a decent bit of time has been stalled, but now the players on Fanshot, they're just pushing in. Mai with a double kill as they start making their way in. The walls gets open, a C4 gets tossed, and nothing is found. It's down to a 4v2, as just Anoti and Kujo playing these power positions and trying to maybe hold things out for a little bit longer, but so far they're kind of struggling a little bit as the players on Fanshot have slowed down, trying to get a little bit more intel, kind of get into better power positions, so that way they can start pushing it in here.
That's a great impact. It covers the line of sight into default, which is going to be really useful there. Kinesis comes by and just diffs Kujo on that angle. And no, he's got to cover the long angle. He's got a rifle in hands, which is going to have good damage drop off for the situation. They're not planning where he thinks, though, and there's players coming up on all angles. It's the battle rifle from Angel that's going to finish him off.
You know, unfortunately, Vigil, I feel like, is in a position where he can be a very powerful operator, or he can just be kind of useless. And that's a little bit what we saw happen there in that round, of just not a whole lot of value was gained from them at all. And, well, I for one, blame the operator. I'm just not the biggest fan of Vigil, personally. I don't like the gun. I don't like the gadget all too much. But, you know, you could argue there that was just a bit of unlucky timing as well, in particular by Shirito, who had the perfect flank coming up there. And unfortunately, Ugg was just not having any of it and just completely bypassed them and just ran all the way upstairs, or at least ran onto the stairs, which, although they did die in the end, costed a lot of damage and ultimately a lot of momentum for Hood Blazers to really get anything going in that round.
I did feel like Anodi actually got quite a bit of pressure. Like, there's a couple times when they could have gotten like a headshot kill, but mostly they were putting threat on a lot of angles, and I think that actually did pan out. I think just the rest of the team ended up kind of folding the round them, but some good stuff from Fanshot to allow that. Stuff like smoking and fire arrowing the attic totally invalidated two players who were playing there. They had to push up into much less advantageous positions where they were pretty quickly just cut down by the players pushing up ahead of our Capital player. So Fanshot did a great job of rooting out players one by one and finding refrags, like May getting the refrag for his teammate going down on first floor when was that Cujo who re-peaked it. Like, I think overall there's just some really good stuff from Fanshot. I think that's why they excel. I don't know if I'd really put it on that roam game from the defense.
Fair enough, but what's done is done, and now a basement defense is in the cards as we see a C4 being tossed out to get rid of that Osa shield, and Shirto playing very close to try to make sure that they can, well, potentially stop any pushes that do come in. The shots come out. Unfortunately, no kill is found as Mai has already made their way down the bottom of Laundry Stairs. They know that there's someone got to be playing behind that mirror window, so they do not decide to push any further. Instead, are more worried about any potential flanks happening on them as more fire is coming out now from Ben Lee, trying to stop things out here as it's all down to Shirito kind of stalling out this push on to a blue bunker. A dual push happening right now, and someone could potentially start heading down those tower stairs and pressuring over from pillar side. But the players of Hood Blazers, despite losing one, they are still in a good position here as, well, they have plenty of utility left to stall things out, but as more and more fire is burned from Ben Lee, the potential is there that it could start turning devastating for them. And with Ben Lee going down, no more fire can be brought out at all, and they're just going to have to back up all the way, get to more powerful positions. And while Mai does go down, it's still in favor of Fanshot in a 4v3.
Yeah, this is a stall team. That's what they're looking to do. Losing a couple of these players is really bad. Bentley had a lot more fuel left to go, still just stalling out long hallway down by A. And with Genesis coming down through Freezer, this could be what really breaks open the defense. Stockroom now invaded by the offense players just in Laundry, giving away his location here at this point, though. Cujo is going to find a kill on Ugg, and Nodi pushing up now. Someone who's been big in the final moments of the rounds. He doesn't know where this plane is going down, though, and he doesn't know that Genesis is right behind him. He's gonna have to swing this. Yeah, look at a pre-fire right, though, but he ends up just being collateral as Genesis takes down 2 on this sight line.
And we're seeing there that Genesis still with the frag game, not wanting to be counted out and able to secure that round for their team, as Fanshawe are able to win 3 in a row, completely taking it to Hood Blazers despite winning somewhat devastatingly in the first 2 rounds. They take things back and at least guarantee that this half will be even for them, and now they look to take things 4-2 once again, showing that they, at least so far, feel a lot more comfortable on attack than they have on defense, although we have yet to see their defense on this side of it, or on this map, excuse me. Hood Blazers, they're still showing some signs of struggle.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see because it's very uncommon that you see a team that has a lot more comfortability and a lot more directed gameplay between the players on the attacking side relative to the defense. Defense is a lot just easier to play in general because you can really define what angles you want to be playing. On attack, you have to work with whatever the defense sets up for you to deal with. This defense is, once again, bringing a lot of the same lineup, but Inodi has switched to that pulse, really flopping around to a different roaming operator in every round, just keeping something for Fanshawe to have to be guessing. It hasn't stopped Fanshawe, though, now that they're just on a great streak on the last few rounds, but maybe this is what will trip them up.
Personally, I'm not the biggest fan of the pulse on this map in particular. It just feels like it's way too easy to get caught out with your head in your camera, not paying attention to where anyone is really going if you're just kind of focused solely on giving intel calls to players that are pushing over, although we do see them all the way over in Big Tower right now. And then, the timing there. They stay on that window for so long, and finally Mai peaks them, and it costs them. And with that, the opening frag is there, and now Inodi is going to be playing over inside of Split to try to see if they can grab some intel, but unfortunately just barely out of their range is Ugg, who's able to get upstairs and get that frag onto Salty, who has not had the greatest time of things. And with them already having armory control, and also now pushing in completely and getting trophy control. That's a lot of space being gained by Fanshawe in a very short period of time.
Yeah, they've taken so much ground. This is exactly what they want. There should just be a mute jammer. Okay, must have been removed from here, so Selmas are going to open up, but that leaves our ace trapped in that location. Genesis and Angel taking tandem kills. And Nodi's still below with a C4. That's nice denial at this rate of the round, but people are going to be moving here pretty quick as they look to execute, probably onto default plant. Yeah, in games room, and Nodi gets that one kill, but no more C4 left, and they're still outnumbered by one on the offense. Gridlock track stingers have been placed in a couple pivotal locations, both on stairs and on the main rotate between dormitories. This is going to be really opening a lot more opportunities up. Angel looking to take this kill, looking to get that kill through the floor, but not going to quite get it. Shirdo shuts this one down, and it's back to even once again as the defense is making a valiant effort to get back to a winning stance in this round. They still have some intel to be working with. Yeah, and that's going to allow Inodi to swing, but he's not going to have quite the right location as Genesis just keeps moving up. Shirto with the refrag, and now the 1v1. Angel delays their location, or belays their location with the grenade. Not sure what to be doing to find. Oh my god, Shirito, but the flick is on point.
It looked like that should have been the end. They were on their screen. They were not looking in the right direction, but unfortunately, the Frost just can't get the shots off in time. And with that, it is going to be Fanshawe managing to once again take their attacking half 4-2 with an amazing flick from Angel. She has been so good these past two maps, being able to get those kills. I mean, she was even, I believe, 12 kills in the previous map at the end there, double digits, on par with UG and Genesis in that regard, absolutely taking it to the enemy team and showing who is the boss. And with that, still clutching that one out and making us that way they can play 4-2. Fanshawe, they head over the defensive half, where Genesis is feeling very sad about not being able to play Oryx.
Yeah, absolutely. Still gets the T5 though. Just pristine gun. It does so much. It's a little better in this game than its real life counterparts track record would have you think. It's just amazing with just about no recoil, crazy fire rate, and not a bad range drop off either. So everything really changes pace here as we swap sides. Attack was crazy good for both teams on border. But with Fanshawe setting up, once again, a good attack, we'll see if they can keep this going and just prove that Oregon is a better map for them. This is their map pick, so this is going to be probably one of their most practiced maps, unless Hood has a pretty good knowledge of what Fanshawe wants. It kind of comes down to a little bit of that meta knowledge that they have in the earlier map select. Unfortunately, I don't have a great record of what maps that these teams have both played on the most, but maybe it's Fanshawe's attacking prowess so far on this that's helping them to get this early lead and maybe even carry into defense.
We are going to see an operator that we haven't seen so far, one that I, for one, think is very powerful, and that's going to be the Nook, Kujo, playing inside of Freezer right now, walking out, trying to see if they can get into some power positions and catch anyone who might be on the roam, in particular, Genesis, who is just playing this Legion like they are a Oryx, and just on a very, very heavy roam, utilizing that T5 to its fullest, and an absolutely amazing gun, and Genesis has been showing off how amazing it truly is. Now, Angel, they unfortunately missed some shots. They are playing down in pit with that wall open into trophy here, as they are trying to just see if they can get something going. Here, shots do ring out, and all the players of Hood Blazers have been topped up quite a bit as Inoti gets the opening kill onto Angel, but Genesis fires right back, getting Kujo, which means that flank and those nades are completely down. Now, 4v4 on the board, make that 3v4 as Ugniak just completely takes Salty by surprise by pushing up from below. Things are not looking good so far for Hood Blazers, as they've already got themselves in a bit of a tricky situation here with a lot of their key members off the board.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of ground taken at this point. Two players still outside on balcony. One of them terrifying me, just staring at that ledge. You will die if you hop down there. But now with the rappel angle looking up into attic, you need someone else going into the actual building, though, in order to leverage that sight line. EMP going off. This will allow some Selmas to go as well. Grouped a little weird. I don't know if that's going to be a walkable hole. Should be a vaultable one. And Shirdo not quite finding his shots. It's been Ugg that's been really nasty on this side of the map and just shutting down anything on Armory side. Bentley taken down, still two players outside as the round is starting to whittle down. Less than a minute left. Ugg is very, very low, but he's got a nice bed to hide behind as Inodi has rotated around to too big window to pressure off another angle. But once again, neither of these is a great main take.
And now 2v4, Shirato in a very difficult position. They know that one of them has to be inside of main bedroom, and Inodi is all the way on the other side of the map at big window. Things are not looking the greatest right now for them, as all the players on Fanshawe are in very, very solid positions. Inodi just goes in and jumps right on in. I don't believe the players on Fanshawe even know they're in. Yeah, there's had to have been someone there, but they've just completely given that up. And now they push into dorms. They're not watching that at all. That's going to be Delore going down. Mai is able to get 1 and 2 as they just run right into their bullets. And even though they were able to get in very quickly, it still wasn't enough to get it to work. And with that, once again, Fanshawe, they are just showing that they are looking to dominate on this map, and they're not even letting Hood Blazers have any room to work with.
Yeah, I'm absolutely there for these two sneaking into sight and fighting the round from behind. It would have been great to see, but yeah, Fanshaw's gotta find that one. I'd be a little remiss if someone like May wasn't able to get in there and shut that one down after one kill that should not have gone out in the first place. So Fanshawe did kind of drop the ball on watching like the 3 main angles that players could come from. I don't know why someone rotated away from big window when they knew that that was going to be the angle that Inodi was trying to come in from. We're seeing a basement hold here, and interestingly, we see 2 shield operators currently not locked in, but at least hovered by Hood College.
I do want to add real quick because it was a bit interesting, the placements of those ace charges on that main breach, and I believe that that was because they knew that the Kaid Claw was at the very top of the wall, so the first one was just purely used to get rid of that first Kaid Claw, and the second one, maybe a little bit of a panic, but at the very least it did make a vaultable hole, like you said, and we did see the third one get used out. Not really any other place they could have effectively used it, but at least that's what it seemed like from my perspective, what they were planning on using it for. But enough about the previous round. We do see those 2 shield operators that you mentioned
they're doing it.
fully locked in. They're going to go for a full rush. They're about to do it to him, Treasure.
Okay, yeah, the classic. Ash opening this one up. The delayed charge going off. Oh, there's no extension though, so you're not getting in through that angle. Ping's going out as we see, Frostmat's going down on Big Tower stairs. If a shield player does actually go up on it, might be kind of hard to utilize that one. The Frostmat's going out already. The C4, oh god! No, if they had just ripped that, that could have been an easy kill, or at least a ton of damage on Inodi. But oh my god, it's Ugwood, 2 headshots in a row. Not going to be taking out Montagna or the player behind him, though, but that's evening the odds, giving him a chance to shut down Hood College's attack at this point. Angel still has this angle up here. I don't know. There's sounds of this player shuffling around. Yeah, in Harry Potter, the legs are exposed, so Salty takes a lot of damage. That's a terrible place to be, but Angel is going to take down Cujo as he swings around the corner. I was so worried for Angel dropping down there when she's pinched between 2 players, but she's going off. Absolutely finds another kill right here, and it has Salty Squid just locked in the corner. Doesn't quite get to finish off the kills. Kenneth is going to be the one stealing it, but she has just done so much, shutting down 3 players by Big Towers.
Angel was in just such a powerful position there, making it that way the Monty could get no value. If they pushed up and tried to peek into them, well, they get shot but from behind towards pillar side and the rest of site. But if they decide to start pushing into E-box and then make their way into site proper, well, the odds of them getting shot in behind by the player on stairs was huge. And then hearing that rotate from Shirato on the Capital from above and just being able to shut that down as well was absolutely phenomenal play coming out from her there, almost single-handedly winning them that round. Ugnok as well, getting those opening picks to just make things even more difficult for Hood Blazers was certainly commendable, but that ending there was just all Angel. And with that, match point is in the cards for Fanshawe. All they need to do is win out this round on the tertiary bomb site. Meeting in Kitchen, where we saw a very quick rush from them last time they attacked this site in the previous half. Are they going to be able to make that adjustment? Well, at least they're not too great. Salty Squid's pulling the jukes on them.
That drone is so lucky getting through those shotgun shots through all there. But it's not going to get knifed from standing high. Well, they're on the ground. You got to crouch for it. But if you get snipe it, that's pretty darn satisfying. Another Warden coming out. May taking it with the P10C. That's pretty respectable when you have a machine pistol available on the other one. MPX and C4. This is an interesting setup, but they already have 2 shields lined up for the team. That's a lot of them. I do worry about bringing 2 operators that bring limited utility to the team, both Warden and Ella, especially on a site like Meeting, where the walls in the building don't do a lot for you here, so you have to get your as much as you can out of your util.
We are going to see Hood Blazers opt to try and take top floor, at the very least pressure out this. Or yeah, no, just take top floor immediately as they just go ahead and jump right into attic, getting two, one of them down below, one of them upstairs, and now they're once again a very, very fast push. This one working a lot more successfully. Not a very common push you see, and well, as soon as they get two, they just go ahead and slow things down. Drones coming out. Now Ugnak trying to push upstairs and maybe get another kill there. Angel barely seeing the head of them. They know they're there because of the drone. Ugnak, they got to get a kill here. Again, the drone knows they're there, and Angel gets taken out. Ugnak trying to open things up for their team. They are having those, well, cluster bombs coming out there, but Shiratos gets one. 5v1 now. The only one left remaining, and there's so many angles they're pushing in from. They got to rotate into Green Hall and try to maybe get something going here, but they don't even know where to aim. They don't know what to do. The swing comes out here, and they do get Shirato, but they need a little bit more. The Monty's still alive as well to cover that diffuser. They get two as Anodi goes down. The clutch potential is real. They unfortunately cannot get through now. The call is being made. A C4 does get tossed, and it does do a lot of damage, but Salty is still alive. Unfortunately, well, that's why they didn't rotate over, because there's a castle barricade there, and they do manage to get rid of it.
No way.
They already managed to get
the headshot.
They get another one. It's a quad. All they have to do is get one more. It's Cujo who's above them watching the diffuser. It's a very difficult situation to be in now. They're not giving away anything, but they don't have any cluster bombs on it as well. They got to go for the diffuser. They don't know where it is. They finally found it, but there's no time left. They got to defusing it now, but the cluster bomb is there, and they're forced to back up. And despite the potential coming through here, and Cujo finishes it off before it can happen, the clutch is not meant to be, although it was so close as it is going to be for the first time this half, a round win for Hood Blazers.
That is crazy. He misses the kill that might have been the easiest of the ones he got, taking 4 kills entirely against the odds and just barely missing that peak fight. The defense, I kind of complained a little bit about some diminished utility being brought, and I think that was kind of shown by how the attack was able to so quickly push up, and there wasn't gadgets to just stop them in their tracks at any point in their journey to objective. Directly from attic window, dropping right from attic hatch into sight. So that really showed the hole in what Fanshawe had on their defense right there. Hood College has, since they've gone down in the deficit, taken to this phenomenal strategy of all-out aggression, just finding something different since they've been having a little bit of trouble on their attacking half, and they've found the success right there. Maybe not 2 shields, maybe 1 shield. This time they're going with something else hyper-aggressive, which doesn't have to necessarily be hyper-aggressive, but sometimes you see a Ying, Lion, Amaru, and it tells you a little something about what might be happening.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too surprised we are going to sing Ye Ol' Classic Amaru Rush in through Kids window, or alternatively in through Games window. That is a very common one that gets brought out a lot, but it will be interesting if that doesn't happen or if they decide to play things slow. We have seen teams opt to bring Amaru to just very quickly clear out T3 of Big Tower instead of opting to go fast into sight. Although they didn't spawn on that side, so it's unknown if that is what they're going to decide to do. They have given the diffuser to the Amaru, and it does look like they are potentially in a position to maybe get something going here. Although they are droning now, so they're giving me mixed signals. I'm not entirely sure what they're doing here. Maybe they're like, yeah, we go for a fast push, but then they saw the setup that was coming out from Fanshawe and said, maybe not the greatest decision to make when it comes to winning this one out.
Minodi's ready for this. Kenneth is taking some nasty angles and not quite finding the head on Cujo through that angle is pretty darn close. Salty Squid's taking a lot of damage, not quite sure where from. They're going to be able to heal a little bit of that back, but it's going to take some time to find that. And Nodi shut down now by Ugg, who is on a very, very low HP and has been crazy good with the Roni. We've been seeing that KD just skyrocketing since he started playing on Mozzie.
Speaking of KD skyrocketing, Genesis is trying to go back to their first game or first map roots. Get some more kills here. Cujo is right below them. They are going to be able to try and at least stall out time up there, and it is Ugnak that gets another one for them as well. Salty Squid just kind of shimmering along, shimmying along, is me as well. Barely managing to stay alive, although not for much longer, as Mai, who is currently the top frag in this map, is going to go ahead and pick up another one for them, as now it's all down to the 5v2 Shirato. It knows that there might be one player back there, but unfortunately, there really isn't all too much, and Ben Lee is going to be able to get the shots off. They do down one, and they are able to get that open, but they don't know someone's right there. They see the foot through the wall, or at least we do here. They do jump in the... Flash does come out, but it's back to back. The Frost mats that managed to secure the round. I mentioned the Frost at the beginning of the game, and well, it comes back all the way to the end and just wins the game for them as Fanshawe take the 7-3. Absolutely phenomenal job from this team to completely dominate out this map.
Well, a close game one on Border, and a second one where Fanshawe just started running away with it. Crazy hero plays, especially from Angel, really showing up and showing out in a lot of those rounds, especially that 4K, which is beautiful. And the one downstairs taking out that those shield operators is really cool. That was a crazy chaotic last round, but it does seal the season for these players in this division. This is Emergence, and so these two teams ended up being a little bit on lower end of their bracket so far through the season. So this one was a very impactful one, determining which one of these two teams, and it had to be just one. We couldn't choose both, unfortunately. I wish we could, but it is going to be Fanshawe Fuel Academy that gets to move on to playoffs, and they have a chance at getting these rematches to some of these teams that they have a little bit of a vendetta against after their last season. Hood College will be saying goodbye to for this season, but again, it is a pretty young roster overall, so I think we'll be seeing a lot of these same names coming up and getting some more experience under their belt in the coming semester. So I'm really excited to see some more from them as we keep going.
And for how young they are, we certainly saw some potential there. They performed very, very well in this match overall, and even though there were some times where it was a little bit shaky, occasionally they did make some mistakes, it was still very impressive play coming out from all of these players. In the end, it was Fanshawe that did have the more impressive play, but still a lot of the players on Hood Blazers, they looked impressive as well. And like you said, they're young. Most of them are just freshmen. They're going to be able to continue to perform and show up in these upcoming seasons and continue to shine if they so choose. They just got to put in that time, put in the effort, take a look at this match today and say, hey, we may have lost, we may have not been able to go all the way and get to the playoffs, but we had an amazing series, we learned a lot, we're going to come back next time and be ready to absolutely dominate them. And I'm absolutely looking forward to seeing them in the future, but also as well, of course, Fanshawe going into the playoffs, getting their potential revenge tour on some of those teams they may have lost to earlier on in the weeks.
Yeah, so we also have some more matches coming for you. We are not quite done with all of NECC regulation season, so I don't think we have another one on this stream, but on NECC_2, still on Twitch, we have some more matches finishing up for this season, so there's more NECC R6. The two of us will be off for the night, but we're happy to have shared this match with you guys, and we hope you have the best of nights.